Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Well, good afternoon, but I'm from LA and still on LA time, so it's definitely morning for me still. I guess we'll just get started because as people trickle in, it's already 12:10 or past 12:10, so running a little late. But good morning. This is the Dante Basco meet and greet panel. Yeah, cheers that. I'm Dante Basco, and I'm back again in Metrocon 2014. So I'm happy to be back. This is I guess this is my meet and greet, so it's really more about kind of meeting you guys, saying hello, and seeing what you guys want to talk about. I can talk about anything. Suko, Avatar, anything. We'll get it going. What's up, man? What's your name?
I'm Dorian.
Dorian? What's up, man? My brother's name is Dorian. Yeah. Have you read the Portrait of Dorian Gray? As you should.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Definitely Coke. Who's Pepsi? You guys are Pepsi? Pepsi's a little sweet, isn't it? It's like too sweet. I kind of used to like it. Both. I do go both, but I mean, if like one or the other, I'm usually Coke. Mountain Dew. You're in a whole nother. That's a whole other situation. That was a good question, though. That actually is a good question. Yes. I don't know. That's pretty good. I don't know. Does anyone know about that? I don't know if that's canon or not. That's interesting though. That's a good, I had to ask Mike and Brian about that one. That could be something for future that I didn't even realize. Yes. Never. I definitely ship Zutara. Do you? Yeah, do you ship Zutara? Are you Zutarian? You're Katang. All right, that's cool. That's canon. Right. Yeah, well, hey, that's cool too. I think, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really talked to him specifically about that, but I thought myself reading the scripts the first time through, I thought they might end up together in the end, but then I also understand why she ends up with Aang. I mean, because just story-wise and like Avatar kind of made sense. Well, yeah, who's gonna compete with Avatar? And plus, there's all this other, you know, as the series goes on and the story goes on, I think it makes more sense, I guess. I don't know, but I should talk to Mike and Brian about that too. They have all this, they're the ones that make everything up, so they would know the Bible on the whole thing. But the wiki said they were thinking about doing that. I thought so too when you're like reading the scripts. I felt like they were gonna do that also. But I guess, you know, they made a decision they're gonna make. I thought it's cool. It's cool either way. Because May's cool too. I like Zuko hanging up with May. At first, you know, I do ship Zutara, but then as I watch the series again and I see all this art, like May's pretty cute. You know? No, they didn't reveal anything to us. We really just lived it out. I mean, you guys lived it out watching it through, watching the series, and we pretty much lived it out, and we're really excited by just reading the scripts and coming in every week and doing the performances. So it's a different kind of experience how we lived it out, but the same way. We just were going along with the story just like you guys. Yes?
Did you record separately, or did you guys do a voice acting in the same room together?
We try to be in the same room together as much as possible. When you do a series, usually at least the first season, they try to get us all in the same room together based on schedule because you really, you know, it's better chemistry and everyone acting off each other. As the years go on, just everyone's busy, and so it's hard to get people in the room together all the time. Certain people like me and Mako, who played Uncle Iroh, we almost always were in the same room together. Except for if I was shooting a movie or something like that, then I would be solo, and then if he was shooting a film or something, same thing. But more than not, we try to be in the same room together. But you know, things happen. Yes. Mako's amazing. Mako, you know, and I've said this before in other panels, is just he's an amazing actor, and he's one of the most prolific and, you know, influential Asian American actors in the last, I don't know, 40, 50 years in Hollywood. And I was lucky to have him play my uncle or my father in my career like 4 times, I think. So he was that kind of character for me. He was that other generation above me that really gave me advice, and he was really an Uncle Iroh-esque person in my life. Being on the set with him, and you know, him looking at me as the new generation when I was even a teenager, and telling me, you know, just the pitfalls and this and that about the business in general, and then also being, you know, Asian American in the business. So he was very special to me. And then him passing in the last season of Avatar was really emotional for me, but for the whole cast and crew of us. So so it also feels special that I was a part. We were like working together till the end, which is great. And actually, through his passing and through working with him, has really opened up a lot of things. Me taking responsibility as the next generation of kind of like Asian American actors to do things, what we can do to kind of further our visibility in the industry and in America. So I've helped to create film companies and create art collectives for the Asian American community, and a lot of that was influenced by my relationship with Mako. So thank you for the question. Yes?
How did you feel about voicing your own grandson?
That was weird, right? Strange. I think it's cool. It's kind of weird because I'm so associated with Zuko and my voice. I'm not the kind of voice actor that has a ton of voices. It's really my voice. It's really just my voice. It's just me. It's just me acting. So really, more than not, I think it was something that Mike and Brian put in to kind of pay homage to how popular Zuko was in the first series, for me to come and do my cameo-esque thing and kind of reoccur and play this character in the second. So I thought more than anything it was just kind of a cool treat for me to do, and hopefully a cool treat for the fans to do, for fans to experience. And he's a cool character, you know, and he's Fire Nation. So if I'm coming back Fire Nation for sure, you know. Thank you. Yeah. 3 things. Go ahead.
Yes, it was your brother who played stage Zuko.
Oh, yes. Oh, I didn't hear the whole question. That actually was my brother. I thought you were saying it was my brother. I don't know. I couldn't hear from so far. But it was my brother, Derek. You're right.
The one thing, okay. The first question is, what did you personally think of Zuko's character development?
I think it was amazing. Right? What did you think?
I just loved it. Because, like, at first I hated him, and then I was just like, oh, no.
Yeah, so he was one of the, you know, in my career, he's one of my favorite characters because, I mean, it took over a whole series, so not many characters, you know, if you do a movie or you do a television show, you know, you do a character arc and it may last, you know, 90 minutes, 2 hours, half an hour. His character arc lasted, I don't know how many episodes. It's like 50 or something like that, 60 maybe. So that character arc lasted a long time, so we really got to see that character. And so it's one of my favorite character arcs in my whole career. So yeah. What's your third thing?
My second question was, I assume Bright approached you with, Iroh.
Yeah.
Okay. How did...
No, I approached them. I was like, yo, Brian, Mike, I have this idea. No, okay.
How did you just, like, obviously you just said it was awkward, but you're like, how did you feel once you were done with it?
I just thought it was fun. You know, you do it. It took a few times. We looked at it. We looked at the character, how he looked, you know. We tried a few different things with the voices. It's kind of weird if I was trying to disguise my voice, though, and, like, do something different. It's, like, weird. You're like, it's kind of weird because they wanted that effect of me playing my grandson. Right? Now, if we're doing this on camera, it makes sense because, you know, it's just me dressed in a different outfit, and they're like, everyone's like, that's Dante, like 100 years from now. I don't know, you can kind of tell. They do it in TV shows all the time where you're playing your grandkid, or, I mean, Back to the Future when, you know, he's playing his great-grandfather, that kind of thing. But when you're doing, you know, when you're doing an animated series, you know, it has to still sound like you. It's like weird. It was like a very strange fine line. I don't even know if people have done this before in the animated world, so it was kind of weird. I was like, this is strange, but it was cool, you know. In the end, they're Mike and Brian. They can do whatever they want to do. Yes?
My name is Natalia.
Hi, Natalia.
I'm a theater major.
Cool.
I wanted to know what your first acting job was.
My first, you're an actress?
Yes.
Awesome. What plays have you done?
I've done Macbeth.
Cool. She said, I did Macbeth. It's heavy duty.
Yeah.
And?
I've done Let Me a Tenor.
Cool. So you sing?
That's not a musical.
No?
No. But I do sing.
You do sing though.
Yeah, I've done musicals too. I've done a lot of shows.
Okay, and your question was, what was my first acting experience like?
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. I was one of those guys that was like, one of those kind of like lucky things when you come. I was a break dancer before I was an actor. We were dancers, me and my brothers, and that got us to LA in the 80s. And when we got to LA, we started studying acting immediately because my mom was like, if you guys want to act, then you should really study acting, you know, understand what you're doing. And then I just happened to, you know, I'm like one of those stories where I went in for an audition and then I booked the job and I didn't even know what I was doing, that kind of thing. So that was a show called, that show was called The Wizard, which was like this 80s TV show. It was like a little person was a star of the show. I should actually get more information. I can't remember exactly. He was a toy maker, and it's like, you know, they solve crimes or something like that. And I actually played Native American, like my first role. So because I'm Filipino, right? So being Filipino, yeah, some Filipinos in the house? Yes. Awesome. So being Filipino, we're like a mixed kind of Asian race because our island was conquered so many times by so many different cultures. We have all this bloodness, right? Which is good, which in the end works out. So my roles have ranged from everything from like any kind of Asian to all kind of different Latino roles to Native American, which I played like I think two or three times. So that role, I just rolled in and I booked the job, you know. So acting at the beginning for me was just kind of like learning lines and then being, you know, saying them in front of camera because I was like 10 or 11 years old. My memory then was, A, I had to get up early in the morning to get to the set. B, that there was all kinds of free food on the set. C, you got to dress up because every time you do a show, you know, you have wardrobe. I think especially as like a little, like a kid, like a boy, the idea, I mean, we don't play dress up like girls do as we're kids. So when you go to the set and you're like, oh, we're playing like Native Americans, and then you dress up and you're hanging out with all the Native Americans, and then you got makeup and hair and free food, you know. That was the idea when I was like a kid. And then as I grew up in acting classes and conservatory and doing theater and doing more, you know, serious films and television, the process became a little different. I found my process. What year are you in high school, college?
I'm in college.
You're in college. What year?
I'm going into my sophomore year.
Sophomore year, yeah. So now's the time where you're just doing a lot of roles and you're really understanding not just what you're doing as an actress and that part of your craft, but also being a part of the whole artistic community, which involves things like cons, you know, because in the end, we're all creatives, you know what I'm saying? And being creatives is us. We're like maybe weird to a lot of people outside of here. And not just con world, but just actors, writers, directors, producers. When I go to speak at colleges a lot, right? And one of the analogies I use a lot is Harry Potter. Believe it or not, Harry Potter. Do you guys, who's a Harry Potter fan? Should be everybody here. So the thing about the Harry Potter thing with us as actors and us as artists is, and us as, you know, everyone in this room as congoers, as creatives that create cosplay that are here to celebrate the arts, is just like Harry Potter. There are wizards and there are muggles. And when you're a part of this group, like, make no mistake, you're a wizard. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in school, it's your Hogwarts. You're discovering the skills that you have and developing your skills of creativity. And when we create things like Avatar, like Harry Potter, like the things that we create with our minds is nothing short of magic. And the impact that it has on the world is what it is. The flip side of that is there's a lot of people that are muggles. Some of those people are our parents, our friends, and our relatives, and they don't necessarily understand. They don't understand cosplay. They don't understand staying up all night writing a song. They don't understand staying up all night learning lines or writing a scene, or things that are life and death to us has no value to them. And that's okay. I mean, they're muggles. It's all right. It's like no reason to love them less as your parents, as your friends, or brothers, sisters, or whatnot. Just, we're wizards, and we're doing wizard stuff, and if you don't get it and you're a muggle, that's cool. I'm not judging you for it. Just understand that, and then be on your way in your Hogwarts journey of college to kind of become the best actress / wizard you could be.
Wizard Harry.
Yes. Yes, in the back with the wings, blue.
Yes, well, growing up, I was a very big fan of Tolkien.
Thank you.
What I wanted to ask you was, did Spielberg himself call for you? Was there to get an audition, and what was it like working around with Dustin?
Yeah, it was, well, you audition. First and foremost, there's auditions. Every day there's breakdowns that come out. We have agents, managers, and the whole process of Hollywood is just breakdowns come out. Breakdowns are like descriptions of the characters, right? And your agents and managers get that, and they submit, and then you end up meeting casting directors, callbacks for directors and producers. That's how it goes. And so for Hook, what happened was actually my little brother auditioned for another role in the movie, like one of the other Lost Boys or something. And of course, it was the biggest film in town during that year. And I called my agents, my managers, anything. I'd love to audition for any role in that movie, just because it is Steven Spielberg, it is Peter Pan, and Robin Williams, everything, and it's such a cool story, right? So I ended up getting the audition for this Rufio character, which at that time is, it's so cool now, but at the time, back then, you didn't know. It was just Lost Boy guy, Rufio. All right. And I actually went over it with my acting coach at the time, and I do remember, because I remember dressing up for it. I had this cool wristband on. I don't know. Silly things like that, but I just remember the character, and then I auditioned for it, and then the weird thing that happened with that is I auditioned for it with the casting directors, and then a few days go by, and then I get the call for the callback, right? Where they're like, Steven Spielberg wants to meet you. I was like, oh, shit. So the thing about those days, especially, I don't know if it's still, when I was a kid actor, one of the big folklores in Hollywood was Steven Spielberg has this arcade in his office, right? Free games. I thought that was the coolest thing. And so the callback was there at Amblin, which is on the lot, the Universal lot, in Universal Studios lot. So you go there and, you get in and whatnot, and they say you can wait over there, and then you go into this room, and it's an arcade. He has a friggin' arcade, a full-on big arcade in his office. And sure enough, all the games are free. It was crazy. So me and a half a dozen other kids are running around, just playing video games and hanging out. And then someone tapped me on the shoulder, and it was Steven wants to meet you now. And so the weird thing about that is I went in there, and Steven was super cool. We just talked, and he asked me about my resume. I was 15 at the time. Been acting since I was 10, so I was kind of I have all these other credits, but he's like, what kind of movie was this? What kind of role was this? And I was talking about acting and my idea of acting. I did a movie called Perfect Weapon. He was like, what's this character in this? And I was like, oh, it's a street urchin kid, Ratso Rizzo. He's like, what? Midnight Cowboy? I'm like, yeah, Midnight Cowboy. So I was very, I've been studying acting for a long time, so we kind of spoke the same language. And then the weird thing is he didn't audition me. He was like, thank you. It's nice to meet you. And I was like, what? I'm oh, I didn't get this thing. And I actually got offered the job 2 days later. And when I was on the set a few months into it, I asked Steven, I was like, I'd never booked a job after one audition, pretty much. I've only read the role one time. How did that happen? How did you cast me? And he told me, out of all the kids he auditioned at that time, I was the only kid that scared him. Which is crazy, right? So that was amazing. And then hanging out with Robin and Dustin for 8 months, is amazing. I mean, they're literally legends. You know, Dustin Hoffman's probably one of the handful of greatest actors of his generation, you know, in our lifetime. I mean, I put him, it's like Hoffman and De Niro, Pacino. I mean, that area of actors, the 70s anti-hero actors that, you know, you want to be in the lineage of those guys. So just being around him is like being in the presence of greatness kind of thing. And same thing with Robin. And Robin has so much energy and so much great, he's everything you would imagine. Amazing improver, scary. When you're acting with him and he's improving, he would do this thing, like every scene. He would be like, Steven, can I get one? Which means he's gonna do the whole scene over and rewrite it right now on film. Which is great as an audience member. Like if I was sitting where you're at and you're watching, like, this is great. But when he's talking to you, it's crazy. Like the whole scene, the food fight scene, you know, when we're like going back and forth with that banter, and he's just like, let me do one, and he's just saying things to you. And at 15 years old, I don't even think I understood what he was, like half the things he was talking about. You're just sitting there like getting bombarded, because he's literally one of the, if not the, you know, best improvers on the planet Earth, right? And you have three choices at that time. You can either improv with him, which may not always work out good because his brain's traveling like 10 times faster than everyone else on the set. Or you could sit there and get steamrolled, which is not, you know, an option for me. I'm not rolling like that. Or you can just jump to the next line, which was that was my plan. Like, as soon as he improvised, I'd let him say one line, and then before he goes off, I'm just gonna jump to the next line and look at him like, what's up, Robin? That's it. I jumped to the next part of the scene, now what you gonna do? Then he's gonna improv more. Questions? Yes? Awesome. You guys know But I'm a Cheerleader? Anybody know But I'm a Cheerleader? Yeah? Some people watch that movie. Who hasn't seen that movie? You guys should see it. So this movie is called But I'm a Cheerleader. It was a film I did, an indie film, starring Natasha Lyonne, Clea Duvall, RuPaul, Kathy Moriarty, myself, who else? Eddie Cibrian, Dante Basco. So it's about these kids that are gay that get sent away to a gay camp or straight camp. It's a comedy, by the way, it's a comedy. Like a dark comedy. And it was like really John Watersy, so it's really funny, like when we get to the gay camp, all the guys are wearing like blue jumpsuits, like blue, and all the girls are wearing like super pink clothes. They're trying to like brainwash us out of being gay, which is hilarious. I haven't seen it in years. My memory of it, it was like a super cool cast. Like all these cool like Hollywood cool kids at the time, you know? A, and B, it was my first time playing gay in any film or project, and that was kind of crazy because it was the first time I kissed a guy, which was kind of crazy. Oh no! When I auditioned for the film and I met the director, you know, they offered me the part, Jamie Babbitt. She's super cool, and they end up calling me, and she's like, "We want to give you this part, and but you got to kiss a guy." And I'm like, "I'm an actor. Don't, you know, please." But we ended up doing this. Like, the funny thing is, I said this on my YouTube thing. So when we're young and you're on the set, you do funny things. So me and this other guy, Kit Pardue, who works all the time, who's in Driven and Driven movie. He works all the time. He's a really tall, blonde dude. And we're both straight, right? But we have to kiss each other. And everyone on the set knew, like, oh, they have to do this big kissing scene. And neither one of us has kissed a guy before. So we're like, how are we gonna do this? This is crazy. So should we kiss each other? Like, should we rehearse this and kiss each other now? Or should we like save it for the camera? We're like, yeah, let's try to save it. Maybe the characters would save it, you know, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, we justified it that we're gonna save it for the camera. But what we did do is we got this actress that was on the set. We won't name her. But we're like, so can you help us rehearse for this scene? We got, obviously, we got to kiss each other. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to kiss you. And then Kip's going to watch. And check out my technique. And then Kip's going to kiss you. And I'm going to watch. It was so funny. It was like you're back in like high school and playing Spin the Bottle or something. So we're just making out with this actress in the trailer. It was hilarious. And then when we had to, so it was cool. We were like rehearsing / kissing craziness. And then when we went to go do the kissing scene, it's like we shook hands. We're like, all right, good luck, man. And then we just, action and went for it, which was pretty intense. He's like 6'2", and he was like manhandling me a little bit. And so, I'm like more of a finesser. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not into like I'm like more like trying to finesse the moment. And he's like slamming me against a tree. And I was like, dude, like between takes, I was like, dude, can you? I'm trying to. Like you're like manhandling me. What's going on? I can only imagine, a woman. Like what do? You're like all crazy. And then the other crazy thing is, like like you can't even see. Like I shaved, but there's still like stubble here, a little stubble, for guys that have never kissed another guy. You gotta understand that women deal with this stubble. It's like, and like he had like, you can't even see it, but when we were like kissing, it was like sandpaper. It was super sandpapery. And then of course we did a bunch of takes, right? And then you come off and like your face is all red. Like makes you kind of appreciate what girls go through a little bit on that, right? You guys do that? Yeah? So all the guys have the sandpaper thing going on? Damn. It's crazy. It's sandpapery. You get used to it? But then sandpaper on sandpaper was like double friction. So. Wait, as it goes into a beard, is it softer or is it just as? I don't know, man. I haven't kissed a bearded guy.
You should.
Beard don't make it softer. Maybe if you condition the beard in the shower, it pokes you. That's just one of those things that if you never kissed a guy, you're never gonna know. Questions? Yes. You with the gray and the glasses, yes.
Do you have any memories from working on American Jack and Jake Long?
Tons of memories. Like what kind of memories? You like that show?
Yes. Like any favorite ones? Or
There's so many. I mean, it's like me and Mae Whitman. So I watched Mae grow up pretty much. So it's cool that we kind of work together. We also got to work in the Avatar, but when we started American Dragon, I think Mae was like 13 maybe. She was like a kid. I remember when she came in, when she first got her license, and she like drove to work the first day. That was kind of cool. I was like, dang, Mae, you're all grown up. I remember one of my big memories is like, actually what's weird is as an actor, a lot of times your life imitates your art or your art imitates your life. So there's like so many lessons that I actually learned from Zuko, or so many lessons I've learned actually from Jake Long. So the episodes where I'm gotta go confront the dark dragon, there's like a few episodes there, and it's like this really big thing he's scared of. I actually had to go confront a dark dragon in my life at that exact time. It's crazy. That same week. And I remember like the Jake Long thing teaching me these lessons, like you gotta do it. It's not as scary as you think. Like all this kind of stuff, I'm like, how's this coming from Jake Long? I had to confront this really scary person in my life, and it was like, a very crazy situation for me. And like my memory is like that kind of stuff. And then also the whole, like him and Rose had this like secret love affair thing going on that season. I had one of those things going on that season in my life. So yeah, that's what the weird thing is. Like people go, who's your favorite character? Rufio or Zuko? And I love Zuko and I love Rufio. But in like real life, I'm probably more like Jake Long. Like I'm probably like grown up version of Jake Long. in a weird way. Except I can't turn into a dragon. Question, I could try. Yeah.
Do you have any this is kind of like...
It's personal? Go ahead.
No, do you have
No,
any
just teasing.
favorite, do you have any favorite authors or books?
Yes, right now, I just read a book not too long ago. It's like my favorite book in a long time, called Ready Player One. Anyone read this book? You've seen it, read in the back? You gotta read, okay, I say, tell everybody, like, read this book. It's called Ready Player One by Ernst Klein, and it's about the future not too far from now, when we're all kind of like living in this Oculus, new internet, online RPG world. It's super cool. And what happens. I love this book, and I think Seth Green just optioned the movie rights, so it's probably going to turn to a movie in the next year or two. So I would say, read the book and be on it. Beyond that, I mean, I just read Fault in Our Stars. That was cool. It got me. I was a little emotional. On the... What? I have not read those. Terry Pratchett?
Terry Pratchett.
I gotta check it out. What kind of stuff is it?
Like British humor, it's like really strong, like satire.
Okay.
He has this world called Discworld, which is best described as logically illogical, and it mirrors
What?
kind of.
It's British. It's super British, isn't it?
Super
Super British.
British. He's so funny though, and it's just like
Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett.
And the first book would be called?
You can just read any book.
Any book. They're not...
Even the Discworld series.
Okay. I'll look for that. Thank you.
They're like 40.
Yo.
Who's your favorite superhero?
My favorite growing up, it's X-Men, Wolverine, like, for sure. But, you know, now all the other movies came out, you kind of, like, fall in love with new guys again. Like, I never was a big fan of Iron Man growing up. Like, the comics and stuff, like, Iron Man wasn't that exciting to me. But now the movies came out, now it's like Iron Man's super cool. And I think that's, like, my theory. One of my theories is this. Because Robert Downey Jr. is such a great actor, he's almost half ruined some of the other, like, superhero movies. Because it shows you, like, when an Oscar-caliber actor does something, right? It makes you see, like, the other actors as being not that super. I mean, I like a lot of the actors, but I'm just saying, certain things like, okay, like the original Hulk. I wasn't into the original Hulk that much, right? Mark Ruffalo, again, an Oscar-caliber actor, does it, or pretty much a supporting Hulk in the Avengers, a supporting character, and he's better than all the other Hulks combined. You're like, I mean, that shows you how amazing, what great actors can bring to roles. You know what I'm saying? Like, a character that's like Iron Man, who's popular, but he's not as popular as he is now, with a great actor bringing, the right actor with the right character and a top-notch actor brings so much to the role, you know? And half the time you think, oh, if they do it with whoever, it's all good because the story's so great. We're like, no, the great actors bring a lot to the roles, but I think, you know, Iron Man's amazing. You know, I love the X-Men though. Growing up with the X-Men, and I'm not super happy. I mean, Hugh Jackman's all right. He's all right. I mean, he's cool. I mean, he's really pretty good-looking dude. But when you like read the comics, like Logan wasn't really a good-looking dude, and not really tall and strapping. He's more like he's 5'3" and kind of like angry and witty, super witty and super crazy, you know. So when they made him like Hugh Jackman, I was like, all right. I mean, it's all right, but it would be, I don't even know who the actor would be. That was like really the Wolverine, like this small, grimy Canadian. Huh? Yeah, like Danny DeVito. Like if Danny DeVito, fuck, Danny DeVito would be perfect. A young, in shape Danny DeVito with hair on his head. But basically, it should have been like that. You're right, Danny DeVito. I was thinking like Bob Hoskins. A young Bob Hoskins, too. Yeah, but they made him like, oh, Hugh Jackman. Which is cool, I guess. Girls can look at him, it's all good. Yo, right here. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
But my question was, you know, and you probably get asked this a lot, but
know. I was Rufio a long time. I've been Rufio like more of my life than I have been Rufio now, which is crazy. So I don't really think about it, but I probably get recognized like daily, weekly, something like that. And I don't realize it until I'm like hanging out with like new friends or new people, because they're like, oh, you get recognized a lot, but you don't think about it because it's been a long time. But with the Homestuck thing, I had to affected some things. But also Homestuck has this weird thing. Like Homestuck is so big and crazy within the world of people that know Homestuck, and then the people that don't know Homestuck have no idea of what Homestuck is. So it's like this crazy. I love Homestuck. I don't know. It's like I had this whole conversation about how pop culture has got democratized, which means with the internet and everything, that people are way more into what they're into, but the blanket of what like pop things are is different. I don't know. I was talking to this guy at Maker Studios, which is this big YouTube conglomerate, and I was saying, what does that mean? How does that work? And he's like, well, like when you grew up, like he used a thing like NSYNC. I'm like, right, NSYNC. He's like, have you ever bought an NSYNC album? I'm like, never. He goes, can you sing an NSYNC song? I'm like, I could sing you like 4 or 5 NSYNC songs, right? He goes, right, that's how pop culture used to work. He goes, like, now who's big? I'm like, I don't know, like Justin Bieber. He's like, can you sing a bunch of Justin Bieber songs? I'm like, no, I have no clue what any Justin Bieber songs are. He goes, that's how the democracy of pop culture is happening now. The idea of having a Michael Jackson or Madonna is almost impossible, because people are just going online, seeing what they want to see, and being super more into what they want to see, like Homestuck. There's a whole infrastructure of Homestuck, but the umbrella outside of it is almost, no one has any clue even what Homestuck, the idea of what it is. So it's a cool time that we're moving into, and kind of weird, and how we kind of like steer our way through it as artists and even as fans is going to be interesting the next decade or so. Yeah. Yep. It was weird. Yeah, because it changed. I thought it was weird too. It was super weird. But I asked him why when I came back to like, what is going on? And they changed it. They said because they wanted Rose and Jake to have like a love story, and they thought they looked too little, too young in the original cartoon. So if you look at the second one, it was just growing them up to be like teenagers. So it was like a subtle thing, which I think was jarring. I think it happened so fast that it was like, what? But I get it, because if you watched that last season when they changed it, and like Rose and Jake have that love story, they just wanted them to look like teenagers having a love story, not like preteens having a love story, which could be weird. Yo, and with the glove in the back. Yeah, I talked about this a little earlier, maybe before you got in here, but he is amazing. He's always been really an Uncle Iroh in my life. So working with him, he's also like one of those great actors that have been around forever and just do quality work and just legendary in their own light, you know? So whenever I got the chance to work with him, it's amazing. He played my uncle, my grandfather 4 times. My father and my uncle, I think 4 times in my career, which is crazy. Mega Man arm.
If you had a choice, would you rather have an attic or a basement?
An attic or a basement?
Yeah.
I've only had attics, so I wonder about a basement sometimes. You know, I'm from the West Coast where we have attics, and East Coast has basements, so I always thought it'd be cool to have a basement. So, yeah. I'd probably go with a basement. I'm gonna go with a basement. Thank you. Yes. What? I didn't hear you.
Can you say something about your honor?
Yes, please. Wait.
And what's the last part? Say something about honor and my. And what do you want me to say?
Say you love Carl.
I must regain my honor. Questions back there? Yeah. Spider-Man phone. What is it? Say a little louder. Which Marvel super character would I be? Marvel. That's pretty good. I don't know. Growing up, I said on the DC side, because I was like a kid actor my whole life, I always wanted to play Robin, that kind of idea. And I actually auditioned for him a few times. On the Marvel side, I go to like one of the X-Men concepts, but I don't know which guy. I mean, I was always a big fan of like Nightcrawler growing up. I like Nightcrawler. Yes. I know Channing, so, I mean, not that I'm biased, like, Channing's a cool dude, like, Channing's cool. I like Gambit. This is my thing. I love Channing as an actor. Like, I really thoroughly enjoy him. Even as a person. Like, if you met Channing Tatum, you would think he was the coolest dude because he's just freaking super nice and super personable and just that dude, like, super cool, right? And when I watch him on film, especially like his comedy stuff, I love him. He's just that much, he's that guy. Likeable, funny, really feels like one of your homies. He is that dude. As Gambit, I mean, A, he has to slim down a little bit because Gambit's very slender. B, that accent. If he gets the accent down, if he can get the New Orleans accent down, yes, if he can get that accent down, and if he can grow his hair and have it coiffed looking, because he always has like short hair, you know what I'm saying? And he's like me. He's kind of hip hop. He's like a hip hop kind of dude. So he'd have to get more New Orleans kind of jazzy, Big Easy. Sha, what's up, Sha? That kind of thing. I don't know. I'm interested. We don't know yet. The thing is, I've always loved Gambit. I like Gambit, and I don't always know why. Like, Gambit's cool, but it's like, because I remember first seeing Gambit in the not even the comic books. I saw him first in the 90s in the series when he came out, right? The Jubilee and Gambit and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, why is he wearing a trench coat over his X-Men outfit? Like, what's he doing, this dude? And he needs the cards, all this kind of stuff. So he's always been a weird character that I liked. And at that time, I didn't even really understand what that accent was. I think I was like a kid, so I was like, what kind of accent is that? And then I always thought Harry Connick Jr. would make a good Gambit, just because he's from there. If he was younger, he missed that boat, though. He should have played Gambit like 15 years ago. We'll see. I'm down for Channing. I'm down. I'm interested.
Me?
Jose, man, what's up?
Yeah, remember when the movie was in the Blood and Bone?
Yeah, Blood and Bone.
Yeah, you remember when the scene that the hammer chased after you?
Yes.
In the club, and
he beat me up.
he beat up in there?
Right, he's throwing me around that place.
Yeah, and it was you, or they used like a...
No, it was not being thrown around like that?
Yeah.
No, I ain't getting thrown around like that. Jose's talking about this movie I did called Blood and Bone. Anyone see Blood and Bone? Few people? No? You gotta go watch this movie called Blood and Bone.
It's good.
And it's with Michael Jai White, and it's a mixed martial arts film. And I don't do mixed martial arts. I actually am the manager of like the star of the movie. I'm his sidekick. And what's my name? Pinball.
Pinball, yeah.
My name's Pinball. And I talk a lot of trash in the movie.
Yeah, so.
I'm kind of like a real ghetto. I don't know if you watch wrestling, but yeah, you watch wrestling, so I'm like one of the managers, kind of. Like, I talk a lot of trash, but I swear a lot.
Yeah, Paul Heyman.
And in the part of the movie, I get beat up by the bad guy. Hammer, the Hammerman, played by Bob Sapp, and this dude is ex-NFL player from I think he played the Raiders, and then he went to Japan, and he became this mixed martial arts champion in real life, and he's the most interesting dude. He won Man of the Year in Japan, on Time Magazine Man of the Year in Japan. It was crazy, and he's so fast and so big. Like, when you hang out with this dude and you realize how fast he is, you realize like everyone in the NFL is that fast, all those big dudes, it's scary. So there's a part of the movie where he's throwing me around a bar. Like, he picks me up and he throws me around. But he's not throwing me around, because he's throwing this stuntman like to the wall and like falling down. Like, hell no, I ain't doing that. And then when when Hammerman dies in the scene, he falls on top of me, right? But he's like probably 320, 330, big. And he's like, he's falling down on me because I'm underneath him, and it's like the joke is like he dies on top of me, right?
Give me up here.
But he's like, and he has like kind of a high voice. He's like, Dante, you gotta understand, I'm a big guy. Well, you gotta push back when I'm coming down on you, because I can hurt you, man. I can really hurt you. I'm like, okay, Bob. And then when he does it, dude, I have to push back with all my might. Because he really was literally crushing my ribs. Like, that's how heavy this dude was. I can't imagine getting tackled by real dudes in NFL. Because he was trying to hold himself up, but he has to actively look like he's dying, right? But so when he's coming down on me, I'm literally pushing with all my might so he doesn't crush me.
Did he say, like, I'm sorry after?
Yeah, no, yeah. He said he wanted me to go party with him in Asia. He was like, Dante, we should do because he's real popular in Japan, right? He's like, we should do like a wild on E, like me and you, through Asia. I'm like, dude, I don't want to, that's crazy. You just want to party, you just want to take cameras around and go partying with me through Asia.
Oh, no.
It's crazy. Question? Yes, the glasses, right here, blue shirt. The debut. I love this movie called The Debut. Are you Filipino? Awesome. So I did this movie years ago called The Debut, which is the first Filipino-American film. And if you haven't seen that, you should go check that out. I'm very proud of it. It's kind of this cool coming-of-age movie. My sister's debut, which is her debutante ball, and I'm the brother, and the stuff that we go through as a family during that time. And it's really cool, really fun. So the question is, would I rather play Filipino characters? I love having helping to have a voice for our community and being recognized. I think as Filipinos, we're at the highest profile we've been with things like Manny Pacquiao and things like my career in the last 20 years. So I'm always there to help tell stories about that. But on the contrary, it's like I can't sit around, waiting for a Filipino story. When I talk at college and other students, I'm like, do you understand, if I had to wait for a Filipino role for me to act, I would never work. And the fact that I've been able to act for the last 28 years in the industry has been this phenomenal thing. So I think it's important, if it's a story about a certain race or culture, I think it's important. Let's try to be specific with those cultures and races. But if it's just a general story, I think we should be open to really show America for what it looks like now, like how the room looks now, the diversity of what we are, and we don't have to worry about exactly being certain things, because it's not about that. I mean, we don't do that necessarily within the Caucasian casting. It's not like, oh, he has to be Irish. This guy is actually British. That kind of thing. So I don't think we should limit ourselves. We're a small community trying to work. And I think actors and writers, producers need to just be able to fill the roles believably and tell the story believably and not have to continue to kind of limit the things that us as actors can do. I mean, we're all pretending to be something when we're acting, In the back? Yes. Yes. Maybe. We haven't done it out of LA yet. So far, we've done 2 parties in LA that were very successful. We just got booked by Funimation to throw their after party for Dragon Ball Z at Anime Expo. Yeah. So they premiered, last week they premiered Dragon Ball Z movie, the DBZ movie, and we threw the after party. So now people are wanting us to come around the country and do some parties. So maybe we'll bring a Phantom Society party near you. I mean, Florida got to be a good place to do one just because so many cons out here. But we'd have to do a little research and find a cool club to do and then bring in some talent as far as DJs and really make the night like a cool club night. And, with the castle, that's a suggestion, the castle?
Yeah,
What's the castle?
At Ybor City.
Is it a club?
Yeah.
It's a club in Ybor. We'll just take over Ybor. That's my thing. In Hollywood, people, when I did the supper club, at first the people at the supper club were like, of course, because they're not Congoers, they don't really understand the world, and they were like, what's going on here tonight? What's up, right? And by the end of the night, they're like, how can we be a part of this? This is awesome. So I'm about trying to change the world. So we have a few more minutes. We'll take 2 more questions. 2 more questions right here. Yes. Can I do an Azula impression? A Great Delau impression? Zuzu, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't do it that well. I need gray hair to do it, to imitate her. She's too great. She's funny. I love her. She's amazing. I haven't done a con with her yet, so I can't wait to do one. Me and her at a con together would be fun, for sure. I can't wait for that to happen. And last question. Appa. She won. I think it's cool. You know, I haven't seen it yet. I was telling to the panel yesterday, I got back home and my DVR didn't tape those episodes for some reason. And so I have like the last episodes, but I'm waiting. I guess they're gonna drop them online on Monday. So I'll wait to see those. But just the idea that the character lives on is cool. I wanna see what they do with it. I don't know. I mean, all actors are different. I'm not really super possessive over my characters I do. You know, I mean, I'm proud of the things I've done, and I'm happy that people are impacted by certain characters I've done. I'm more, you know, excited and thankful to be a part of certain characters that kind of transcended and that are like bigger. They're bigger than you. There's like Zuko, Rufio, these things, you just want them more than anything to kind of like live on, and you being a part of it is, you know, if you were a part of what made it really great, that's great. But the fact that it kind of like lives on and you're a part of that living on is great. That's kind of like the immortal thing of being able to create art. And it's less about always saying, I own this, or the proprietariness of art. Again, we got to get paid, and there's all that with the rights of things. But really, the power of it is kind of like, it belongs to everybody in that kind of way. And that's why I love fan art and fan fiction, because it really shows us, you know, as wizards, dropping a pond, dropping a pebble in a pond and seeing the ripples that it makes. And that's really the power of what we have. So thank you guys for coming out. Pleasure spending the morning with you guys. I'm doing a signing today at, what time, Jamie? 2:30? 2:30 signing today, so if you guys want to come by, I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys.
Thank you.